If you look very closely at your screen, the little dot in the middle, well, that is Space Shuttle Discovery. Its crew is preparing for a landing here very shortly after concluding a 15-day space station build and repair mission, being described as one of the most challenging for the space team. We're going to be joined now by Tom Costello and Jay Barbary. They're both keeping an eye on this remarkable landing, a very different landing than we've seen in the past, at least since Columbia. Let's bring in Tom and Jay for their insight. Tom, are you there?
I am, and thank you very much, Tamara. This is Mission Day 16 as we now watch Discovery come into the final 5 minutes or so as it approaches the Kennedy Space Center, decelerating from 17,500 miles per hour down to a landing speed of about 220 miles per hour. Right now, last report, they're traveling at 1,600 miles per hour, coming in over Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then the Cape here. And what is the only variable here of any concern might be the wind. We have substantial wind here at the Cape, and the parameters really discourage landing during the daytime here at the Cape when you have crosswinds in excess of 15 knots. They've been watching this crosswind very closely. It's coming into runway 33. Stand by.
At an altitude of 60,000 feet, flying at 835 miles per hour.
My colleague Jay Barbary has covered every mission here, every manned mission here at the Cape from the very beginning of the space program. And Jay, Commander Melroy here is really in charge, but she's just watching as this glider comes in for a landing. She takes command at the last moment.
That's true. She takes over the landing, Tom, when they get ready to come in. And they really don't have to do that because they can land this vehicle automatically. But Pam is there. She's doing a great job on this mission. And you know, Tom, you were pointing out a while ago, this is the first time since Columbia that they've made an approach across the United States. Of course, they're a little concerned about another Columbia happening and dropping pieces of this spacecraft on some cities. In fact, if they had just gone down just 15 minutes earlier, they would have come in over Dallas.
Jay,
now, we're listening to Clem.
Jay, can you tell us, I'm sorry, but can you explain to the audience why they decided to do this coast-to-coast re-entry?
Well, they decided because Pam Melroy asked them to. She says, we've been up here 16 days almost. We're tired. We'd like to get a little extra sleep. And it's a lot easier to land in daylight than it is at night. So they said, okay, we'll bring you in the afternoon instead of 4 o'clock in the morning. We just heard, too, the first.
You may have just heard the twin sonic booms here. Yep.
I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead.
Twin sonic booms just occurred here at the Cape. No, I was just going to make the same point. Twin sonic booms just occurred here at the Cape as you now watch Discovery making a big loop, coming in now for an approach from the southeast to runway 33. This is a 15,000-foot runway at the Kennedy Space Center. That is just a little bit more than the runway, for example, at JFK. But landing speed here, Jay Barbary, is 220 miles per hour or so, and decelerating from 17,500 miles per hour in space.
Yeah, but at 220 miles an hour is still pretty fast landing speed. You pointed out, Tom, they're over Port Canaveral now, where all the sailing ships go out and the steamships. And right now we have a lot of tourists down there getting a look at the shuttle as it comes in. They have the Disney cruise going out. They're over Port Canaveral. They're lining up for their approach to the northwest at runway 33. It looks perfect so far, Tom.
We should repeat that the landing time here is 1:01:50 East Coast time. And again, for those of you who are not accustomed to watching most shuttle landings, this is essentially a glider. They do not have the option to wave and go around. They get one chance at this landing. Commander Pam Melroy, only the second woman to ever command a space shuttle, is in charge. She will take manual control of the shuttle, coming out of automatic pilot in just the last 2 minutes or so. And that's about where we are right now, Jay Barbary.
As Commander Pam Melroy
right, Tom, as you can see what we're looking at on NASA television, we see what Pam Melroy is seeing. She's looking through the windshield. She has all the instruments in the windshields in front of her, and she's lining up to come in to make her landing. And we're getting reports, and we should be listening, I suppose, to Kylie Clem in Mission Control. She's given us all the information as they make this approach, and we're coming in here now just a little over a minute away from touchdown. Tom?
I agree. Let's listen to NASA as we now watch the final minute.
And is lined up with the center of the runway. flying at 370 miles per hour at an altitude of 7,000 feet.
Again, this is Kylie Clem in Mission Control bringing us the latest. She's looking over the shoulder with Pam.
1 minute.
1 minute to touchdown.
Spectacular nose cam shot, and the shuttle is now coming in over my right shoulder.
There's a beautiful shot, Tom, as she's making the approach right over us here where we're located. They're right over our
Discovery's descent rate is 20
location.
times higher and 7 times steeper than a commercial airliner on the final approach.
They've traveled 6.2 million miles.
This is a beautiful shot as we see it approaching the end of the runway. They're coming up here on the end runway at this time. We should see it. There it is, right over. The gear is down.
Discovery's landing gear is down and locked in
place. Should be touching down. Wheels are down. Now we'll drop the nose gear. Now after the nose gear, out will come the parachute. And here they are. The drogue shoots as Discovery returns safely back to Earth.
Commander Pam Melroy is rotating the nose gear down to the runway and nose gear touchdown.
The crew of Discovery is led by Commander Pam Melroy, but we should repeat that astronaut Clay Anderson has been on the space station for the better part of 4 months, and he is going to be feeling the effects of sudden gravitational pull. It's not a good feeling. Oftentimes astronauts feel nauseated and sick for several days after having been on the space station for so many months. Again, Clayton Anderson may need a little help getting out of the shuttle. The crew will likely come off the shuttle in about an hour after they make sure that all of the noxious gases have been, possibly poisonous gases, have been purged.
Copy, wheel stop, Discovery. Congratulations on a tremendous mission and a great landing, Pam.
Hey, Tom, I got to say right here, let's hear it one for the girls. Pam made a beautiful landing there. She brought it in just right. You know, Eileen Collins, who was the first woman to make a landing, it was out at Edwards Air Force Base on the first return to flight, also with the same vehicle, Discovery. She told me secretly on the side that she hit about 50 feet short of the runway. Well, that was at night. This is daytime. A perfect landing by Pam Melroy. Everybody back safe.
And the new Harmony module that Discovery delivered.
And it's also worth repeating as well that this will probably be the last mission, the last shuttle mission ever to be commanded by a woman. And the reason for that is simple. There really is, right now, only one woman who can command a space shuttle. That's Pam Melroy, the woman who's in charge right now. There simply aren't enough missions left for her to rotate through another assignment. They want to retire the shuttle in 3 years by the end of 2010, and there are other astronauts waiting to take command of this vehicle as it heads back into orbit. And there frankly aren't enough women in the world who have all of the military training, specifically jet cockpit time, that NASA wants to see in order to put women in a cockpit, in command of a shuttle. And so we've had Eileen Collins and Pam Melroy in command of Discovery over the course of the past 2 years. Discovery now safely on the ground, Tamron, after 6.2 million miles and having accomplished an awful lot at the space station.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom and Jay, for guiding us through that beautiful landing. Thank you, gentlemen.